Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of CloudCoin Live. And work has paid off, and we have been able to announce that we're going to be on the BitShares exchange. That's a decentralized exchange, and this is really wonderful because it's the most decentralized exchange, and it is going to give our members also the most flexibility, the ability to buy Chinese yuan, the ability to buy gold and silver, US dollars, just about everything that you can imagine, even stocks and bonds you can get on the BitShares exchange. So this is going to give us a huge amount of flexibility, and it's really going to add a lot of value to CloudCoin. And I'm going to talk today about the value of CloudCoin. Usually I don't try to sell people on CloudCoin. I don't try to say, hey, invest in CloudCoin. And the reason is because, we don't, mainly it's because we don't have an exchange. And so being on, the fact that we're going to be on an exchange, that's going to allow us to have what's called price discovery. All of the people that are wanting to buy will be there. All of the people that are wanting to sell will be there. And they'll be able to meet and come to the actual value of CloudCoin. And then we're going to be able to publish that information on CoinMarketCap. And we're going to see how CloudCoin compares to other coins. I predict that we're going to start at least in the top 500 coins, and that we're going to rise from there. So I'm going to talk about the value of CloudCoin, the price of CloudCoin, how we're planning to make CloudCoins worth more, and what a person who's interested in investing might expect if they go to the BitShares exchange and start buying them. And so you may well know that there's this branch of behavioral science. Behavioral science does not know anything about information systems or computer science, and they have come up with a lot of definitions. For example, they have actually redefined what money is. Money is data. Monetary systems are information systems, and the money is there to be used by our brains to process in parallel and to make sure that when we create something of value, we get something of value back. We have, like I said, we've announced that we are going to be on the BitShares exchange, and we've already done a lot of work towards this. And so we've created a huge amount of code, what we call a software development kit, that makes it very easy for us to just plug into there. And also we now have, to say that right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it depends on.
And he is our new programmer. He's going to start Monday.
Monday, yeah, I'm excited to be a part of the team. And yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you for joining CloudCoin. And so he's going to be dedicated on that project, and that's all he's going to work on. And we're going to move all of our other resources to make that a #1 priority. We're going to get Chahan a assistant and just make sure that he can work as well as he can. When do we expect to actually be on the BitShares? Well, that's our side and their side, but I think that definitely within 2 months, maybe even 2 weeks. I mean, we really are far along, and we're not going to really know until we actually get into the coding and start doing that. Ideas about things. One of their ideas is about how price is established, supply and demand. And this is something that goes back to Adam Smith back in 1776 when he wrote his book, Wealth of Nations. The invisible hand. We can see that prices are being formed by people that want to supply goods and people that are demanding the goods. And that is a good definition. It certainly is true, but it doesn't really help us when we try to value CloudCoin or any other digital currencies, and it really doesn't help us too much when we try to is what's maybe called the theory of constraints. And that is to say that we have a whole bunch of variables. These are dependent variables that the price depends on, and the variable with the least degree of freedom will constrain the value. And so if we were to look at the value of CloudCoin, we could look at it as like a pipe with a bunch of variables, and each section of the pipe is a different factor that goes into the price. And so we might have a section of the pipe that is rather large, and then another section of the pipe might be smaller, and another section of the pipe might be smaller. And what does the size of the pipe mean? That means its capacity to add value to CloudCoin. And we might see it go up, and again, pipe. Now, if you had a pipe like this, you might want to figure out how much water you could get through this pipe. But in our case, we're trying to figure out how much value this thing is going to produce as a whole. And we might have a section of the pipe that can handle 1,000 gallons per minute, another section that can handle, let's say, 700 gallons per minute, another one that can do 80 gallons per minute, 600 gallons, and then I'm just going to say 1,000 here again. So how much water are we going to get through this pipe? Well, we're not going to get 1,000, and the reason is because we have a constraint here, a bottleneck. This pipe will allow us to bring 80 gallons of water through it. And what we might decide to do is we might want to say, hey, let's try to get more water through this pipe, and we're going to add to the capacity of this pipe and make it bigger. Does that increase the flow through our pipe? No, it doesn't, because we're still constricted by this bottleneck. In fact, we could put our time and effort on any parts of this pipe, and it will make no difference unless we put our efforts here at the bottleneck. And so let's talk about the different variables that go into a digital currency, and there is quite a few of them. There's probably some that I don't even know about, but I have a feeling that I know more about the variables than most people in the world know, and so I'm going to talk about those. And this is a model that I've created myself for the value of digital currency. So this is something unique and new. It could be wrong, but this is what we're going on. And there is, in general, 5 pieces of the pipe for a digital currency. And the first piece of the pipe is what I call integrity. And the integrity, it has a whole bunch of subs to create other pipes in here. What does integrity mean? Well, number one, you don't want to be able to turn off the system. And so if the government can come in and just shut it off, then that's going to close this part of the pipe off, and all of the value is going to disappear. There's not going to be any value going through there at all, and the value of the CloudCoin would collapse. So this is with any kind of currency. If you can just turn it off, that is going to take away the value 100%. And if you have the ability to turn off, if I can look at this and say, hey, look, it shuts off, well, people aren't going to value that very much because they know that the value can be lost at any time. So there's also counterfeiting. If the currency can be counterfeited, that's going to constrain things. If I know that anybody can, if I can lose the currency, it's going to make it smaller. And there's a whole bunch of other things like, can I transact it quickly? Or does it take 20 hours to transact one transaction? How many people can use it? If I can only do 7 transactions per second, then that is not a very good pipe right here. But if I can do the entire world's population, then that's an excellent pipe. And so we have created a model of what we call perfect money, and we've got characteristics in CloudCoin that are unique to CloudCoin. For example, we do, to use CloudCoins, you don't have to have an account. You don't have to have a public key or a private key. Instead, the keys, the coins themselves have that. And so what that allows us to do is have 100% privacy. And since we do not write everything down in a ledger, that's more privacy. And the fact that we do not allow everybody to look at that ledger and read that ledger, that's more privacy. So we think that CloudCoin is the most private currency ever. And we can actually hide it in JPEG images and emails and text messages, Word documents. We can put it inside of programs. It's, we think that CloudCoin has the most privacy, but it also has the most of all other integrities than any other currency in the history of mankind. So we think that CloudCoin is the best that has ever been, and pretty much the best that's possible There might be a few tweaks here and there that we can make it, but we call this part of the pipe the RAIDA part. And with blockchain, of course, with something like Bitcoin, this would be the blockchain. Their blockchain pipe is going to be much smaller. Our integrity pipe is huge. It's the biggest we think that it can be. The second part of the pipe has to do with client software. Client software is software that runs on your desktop computer or your cell phone or your web browser or any other kind of device that you have. And so the software that we need is we need to be able to receive a CloudCoin, check it with the RAIDA to see if it's real, and then change all of those authenticity numbers so that only we know them, and then we need to then save that to a file on our computers. And so that does take some software. We call that process pwning or password owning. And we can do it with web pages actually, but you know, so you don't really have to download anything. You just go to a web page, you can drag and drop them into the web page. But we also have what's called Pocket Bank on the Android. We have Consumer Edition for Windows, and we have something called Founders Edition. So if you're using CloudCoins, you're familiar with these things. Our client software is not, and so our client software could actually make it so that I can transmit CloudCoins to you pretty much instantaneously, and that we can go through a third-party server that checks what I sent you is actually real, and you got that. And so we can make some improvements with this. Why is this a concern? Well, if you get some client software and it loses your CloudCoins, that's a bummer. That's going to limit the entire value of CloudCoin if the software is not good. Obviously, if we didn't have any software, that would close that off and CloudCoin would become worthless. We have many initiatives to make the client software better, and we think that that's going to expand the capacity of the value that CloudCoin will have. So this client software is important, and we have Navraj, who's the leader of the client software. He's our architect, but we just hired Navraj's assistant, and we expect to see our client software take some leaps and bounds in the quality and the usability. And by the way, we did get a guy that's going to be doing usability tests, which we haven't ever done, to make it so that it's easier for everybody to use that. So we expect the client software to add a lot of value to CloudCoin, make it better for everybody. But then we get into our bottleneck. And our bottleneck is liquidity. And by the way, before I talk about liquidity, let me talk about, or at least mention what the other two are. The other two are marketing, and the last one is operations. And so marketing is getting the word out to everybody, letting everybody know that CloudCoin exists. So you're not going to choose CloudCoin if you don't know it's there, if you don't know its properties, if you don't know that it's better than Bitcoin, better than the US dollar, better than everything else. And so we do have a marketing right now. We have operations. Operations includes having a help desk, which we do have. It is having a governance, a president, a vice president, membership, voting, and making sure that the RAIDA is managed and people are hired and brought on in a secure manner. And so this is something that we've got written out. We've got something called the CloudCoin Constitution, but we're really not worried about this too much because we've got bigger fish to fry, and we've only got so many resources to spend on it. So right now we've got this bottleneck, and this bottleneck of liquidity is broken up into many smaller pipes. And so one of those pipes that's most important is the exchange. And I guess I should make sure you understand what liquidity means. Liquidity means that you can take CloudCoins and you can exchange them for something. So either you're exchanging them for dollars, or you're going to a website and you're buying a product, or you've got your landlord and you're giving them cloud coins to pay for your rent, or you're paying your taxes with your cloud coins, or you are paying the kid next door to mow your lawn, or tipping the waitress, or what have you. It's being able to actually use cloud coins as money as you would use any other money. And so that is has many different methods in CloudCoin. People that want to buy it just simply for the purpose of maybe waiting and seeing if it goes up in value. But it also makes it possible for people to get cloud coins quickly so that they can buy and sell whatever they want to do. So the exchange is a very big deal. It is our biggest bottleneck right now, and it's so good that we can put a lot of. And this is, you got a website, you want to sell something, you want to accept cloud coins. Do we have the software to allow that to happen? And we are working on that right now. We've got XYZ Buys is going to be our first test case. We've got a lot of other websites that are taking it, but we want to create something called SDKs. And so SDKs, which is the software development kits, are another factor of liquidity. In theory, cloud coins can go into any software. And so this is one of the amazing things about cloud coins, is that cloud coins separate logic from data 100%. And people have asked me, is CloudCoin Turing complete? And the answer is there's no logic at all with CloudCoin. And what that allows us to do is put it into any Turing complete software package. That means that if you want to write a program using the C++ language, you can put in cloud coins. If you want to write a program using the Python language, you can use cloud coins. Any language that you want. I mean, there might be some guy that wrote this language that nobody's ever heard about in Mumbai, and cloud coins will work in that. It won't work with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, you've got this public ledger database that's actually plugged into all these algorithms, and you can't separate them. You just can't take them apart. But CloudCoin is the only currency in which is completely separate. And so I can tell you that while CloudCoin is not Turing complete, if you put it inside, you can put it in something else that is. And that makes it the most versatile currency ever. So we're creating to add cloud coins into their packages. Part of that SDK that we just finished today is the Godot, and this is a game engine. And now Sergi just created this game, and it allows people to, when the game starts, they upload a cloud coin. It's got these boxes, and you can see this cloud coin that's in it puts the boxes over the cloud coin. There's two other boxes, and it's kind of like one of these three-card Monte type things. It shuffles them all around, and you pick which one. And it's not a gambling game. You get three choices, and there's only, so you're going to pick it, and then you're going to be able to download your cloud coin. But it just shows how it works, and now people can take that and use that SDK in their own video games. So hopefully we'll have a contest here pretty soon where we'll start to try to get interest in getting cloud coins into video games. So that's going to be really big. What other liquidity things do we have? Well, that's the biggest ones. Having an exchange, being accepted on websites, merchant accounts, having SDKs to make it work with any software, and make it work with game engines. So we think that we're going to see, after the bit shares and after these activities, we think we're going to see that the liquidity is going to change. It's going to get bigger. And this bigger might be small in the whole pipe, but proportionally it might double in size or triple or multiply by 10. We don't know. But this liquidity is going to open up the pipe to much higher. It's going to get rid of that bottleneck, and we expect to see the price to go up. And that's going to be good for everybody. The proof is in the pudding, but I hope that within a couple weeks, definitely by a couple months, we're going to be on the BitShares exchange. Everybody's going to be able to start an account there. They're going to be able to buy and sell cloud coins for dollars, for Chinese yuan, what have you. So this is our basic strategy. Once we do have this pipe opened up, I mean, you can imagine liquidity pipe gets really big, and then we're going to start worrying about marketing, getting the word out. And if we have lots of liquidity, then what we can do is we could probably turn around and dump $1 million or something on marketing, advertise all over the world, let everybody know that CloudCoin exists. But we don't want to do that until we do these things. So we're dependent on the RAIDA. We've taken care of that. We're dependent on client software. That's going along very well. We're also dependent on liquidity. Then we start marketing. That's the fourth thing we're going to do. And then we're going to start the price of CloudCoin, the value of it, our model of how we think things are going to work. And I'm more than sure.
We got 13 folks.
Okay, so I've been asked to talk a little bit about what I talked about when we started, and let me see if I can remember that.
But you're just introducing the fact that we got picked up by.
Yeah, the big news is that we have an agreement with BitShares, and so I appeared on the Crypto Connie show on YouTube. That's Connie Willis on Blue Rock Talk, and you can see that entire exchange there on YouTube if you go to YouTube and Google Blue Rock Talk. And if you don't know who Stan Larimar is, he is one of the biggest movers and shakers in the crypto world. And so when you're in digital currency world, you can see that there's two types of people involved. One of those types of people is the script kiddies. Okay, so anybody can take Bitcoin, the code, and they can copy it and paste it. They can rename it and they can market it. And so we've seen lots of that going on. And most of these coins that are created, they are simply just clones of Bitcoin. Or they can go onto Ethereum and they can pay some money and they can bam, slam, have their own coin based on Ethereum or some other thing. And so that's very easy to see. Then you're going to have to know a little bit more. And so Tashi Namagoto, if I'm saying that right, I think I'm saying that wrong. He was the guy that developed Bitcoin. He, of course, was a genius. He was able to create the first one. But another genius is Dan Larimore. He is the one that created BitShares. He also created Steemit. And he right now is creating EOS, which is supposedly Ethereum on steroids. That's a big deal. So people like Dan, they know what they're doing, and people like me also know what we're doing. We can actually write books about this subject and think about some really new ideas. And so I'm very honored to be able to be part of that with Stan Larimore, and to be welcomed into that group and to be able to work with some really high-powered developers. These people that I'm working with, they are they're pretty famous in the digital currency world, and we're right up there. So we're doing very well. We're meeting all of our targets, and I think that things are going to become easier and easier, and I expect the price of CloudCoin to go up, and I appreciate everybody that's been so patiently waiting for that. Any other questions? Okay. All right, well, thank you very much for watching our show, and we'll be back here next week, tell you about our developments. Take care. Bye-bye.